Hello everyone, welcome to, I'm laughing. My son watches this YouTube channel and he's British and he goes, hello everyone, and of course I'm doing it now. Anybody who has kids I'm sure has done the same thing. So anyways, hello everyone. It is another Thursday morning for me. It's 10 a.m. and we're doing a little bit of talking about in today's today's live. I'm going to be talking about from the context of an employer trying to find somebody to pre-qualify them and test them out in their agency and try to minimize some of the growing pains that happen when we hire new people in the world of Upwork and Freelancer and all these other ones, where there's so many people out there and there's so many gurus and so many experts. It becomes really, really hard to know who is who. So I'm doing a series of Facebook Lives. This is number 2, to go into my process and how I find people and how I pre-qualify people. So in today's, or the last video I did 2 weeks ago, I talked about how I go on Upwork and how I shortlist people, and today I'm going to go into the next steps. So once you have a series of people that are shortlisted based on your criteria, what's next? Well, then I start asking them and engaging with them in a private messenger conversation and asking them questions. So this is before, so I've pre-qualified them, I've shortlisted them, I haven't gotten on a video conference call with them. This is the step before. I want to weed down my short list, which can be anywhere from 10 to 20 people, down to 3 to 5, because I don't want to do any more, for video. And so how do I do that? So these are the various things that I have. I have a process of about 5 to 6 steps or questions that I ask, and have a conversation. I'm not like copy pasting these. I have a conversation with them and then see what's going on, but these are kind of my go-to questions. So the question, of course, is using my classic example of Google Ads. How long have you been doing this? They'll give you all sorts of answers. It's just kind of curious how long they've been doing it. It's a fairly basic question to ask. In particular, with Google Ads, I would be like, how long have you been doing it? But then I'd ask further qualifying questions like, what was the monthly ad spend that you were managing? How many accounts were you managing? What was the verticals? Like, I'd be going into deeper details, but that would be one of my questions, was like, how long have you been doing this? I would restate the scope of the work that I need, and then I would just ask them if they can fulfill it. I know that they're going to say yes. They always say yes. Yes, I can do that. Of course I can do that. I can do anything. I'm next to God. But I'm just always kind of curious to see, I made a spelling mistake in my notes, to see what the response is when you say, okay, this is the scope. Do you think you can do it? The other thing I always ask is, how many hours a week can you commit to? And then I can always come back to them if I hire them and they don't fulfill that. I can always come back to that, and I don't try to lead with these questions. These are open-ended questions of how many hours can you work for me? Because if they're starting to tell you things like whatever you need, or however many hours you need, it's actually a red flag. So very few of us don't have other work going on. If they come to you and say, well, I'm available for 40 hours a week, but I would have to leave my other contracts, that's fine. That's reasonable. That makes sense. If they're coming and saying, I can do whatever you want. Okay, well, what about your other current obligations, right? It's a bit of a red flag. So you want to make sure that what they're saying is reasonable, because you don't want these guys to be working. I made a post on my personal profile yesterday about working 16-hour days because productivity goes down. Like, I don't want that. I pick up on that as an owner, as an agency operator. I pick up when productivity starts to go down. So I want to know how many hours they can provide, being realistic. I also want my staff to be happy and healthy, and I want them to spend time with their family. That's part of it. I always ask what kind of software, SaaS, that they're comfortable with. You know, I can train them probably with any sort of project management, communication management, time tracking, all that kind of stuff, but I'm kind of curious what they've done because it gives me an indication of onboarding time. I don't know that it would be a decision maker or like a final deal breaker for me if they haven't used Teamwork or Slack or something, but I do want to know because it lines up into that. I always want them to show prior work done via Loom. So this is intentional. I want them to do a Loom and I want them to show me work, like prove it. And one of the reasons I like to do that is because one, you can see what they've done, you can hear their voice, you can see the results, but there's also a timestamp. So if they hesitate doing that, no one should hesitate giving you case studies ever. They might not have it, they might need a couple days to pull it together, but I've had to do that. But they should never hesitate to show case studies. And if they don't have a case study, then they need to be upfront and honest about it. You know, I don't mind training somebody, but I need to know what I'm dealing with. So I really like using the Loom aspect of things and getting them to do a Loom for me, showing their prior results. So like Google Ads, I want them to go into the Google account and show me what they're doing, right? I want to hear them. I want to see them speak. If they have the camera on, that's even better, but you know, I want to see that Loom. That's kind of a big determining factor, and it also gives me an indication of how committed they would be to working with an agency and not necessarily a business owner. And then lastly is, okay, you've gone all that, you know, red flags have, you know, risen. You ask them to get on a video conference. If they're not interested in doing that, red flag. Sorry, bye. But the reason you do that is, one, I just want to have a conversation with them. I want to hear and see their English skills. I say see because I actually want to know it's them. But I want to hear their English skills. I want to see them. I want to verify my gut instincts if this is somebody that would work well with my team, and I'm not going to know that until I see them on a video conference call. So that gut reaction, really that video conference call is just about the gut reaction. I will go in 2 weeks time, I will do a Facebook Live of questions that I asked during a video conference and how to actually conduct that and how I conduct it. And I'm not saying I know how to do this, I'm just saying what I'm doing. That'll be something that that I go into in a couple weeks. But that's usually the steps. Like, I start asking them questions and pre-qualifying questions. And I will turn this into a blog post and try to add more details of, like, if you're hiring someone for Google Ads specifically, the type of questions you can ask to try to pre-qualify them. I don't recommend hiring somebody. If you're an agency owner, don't hire somebody for something you can't do. That's kind of my opinion. Like, you should know what it takes to at least run a Google ad account. Maybe you're not a master, hire the masters, but at least you know. Otherwise, don't offer the service, and that's just my opinion. It's going to be all over the map, but I don't hire a staff member to do something that I can't do. And to go on a tangent, the reason for that is if they get sick or they're on vacation, I need to fill in. So I also need to be able to know if they're doing a good job. So I only do work for clients that I know that I could do myself, but I hire out so that I can take on more clients. So hopefully that was helpful and informative for you, and you got a little bit of a tidbit from there. If you did like it, feel free to share it. Feel free to take your friends. Feel free to comment. Feel free to disagree with me. Get into a constructive conversation about it. I'm open to all of that. So otherwise, next week I'm going to do a Facebook Live geared more towards the employees, and then I'll do a Facebook Live following up on this one in 2 weeks time, focusing on the video interview. So look forward to that. Other than that, it is November 7th today, and it is slowly starting to become winter here in Canada where I live, and I am staying toasty warm, and I hope you are too. If you're on the other side of the world where it's starting to get summertime, then I hope you're enjoying short weather. We'll talk to everybody soon and have a wonderful day.